Today's show is sponsored by Bob's Red Mill. With natural foods, they support organic, vegan, paleo, and gluten-free lifestyles. Learn more about their commitment to good food for all at bobsredmill.com/podcast.
You're listening to Heritage Radio Network. We're a member-supported food radio network broadcasting over 35 weekly shows live from Bushwick, Brooklyn. Join our hosts as they lead you through the world of craft brewing, behind the scenes of the restaurant industry, inside the battle over school food, and beyond. Find us at heritageradionetwork.org.
Good morning and welcome to The Line here on Heritage Radio. My name is Eli Sussman. I'm the co-chef, co-owner of Samisa Restaurant in Williamsburg. Just a quick plug here to help you plan your summer fun. We'll be opening locations of Samisa and our burger spot, Ed and Bev's, up and down the boardwalk at Jacob Riis Beach in the Rockaways. So you've got 2 locations of Samisa and 2 locations of Ed and Bev's to get your burger, dog, and shawarma fix all summer long. So if you're looking for an awesome way to spend a sunny day, come down and see us. We're at Jacob Riis Beach. And all the food vendors, the bars, ping pong, the ice cream stands, and all the live music starts this Memorial Day weekend at noon. My guest today is no stranger to multiple locations and juggling many projects, and today we'll hear from him about how he grew his business into the sprawling Philadelphia-based restaurant group it is today. Marc Vetri is a native of Philadelphia. He was classically trained in Italy, and he's the chef and founder of the Vetri family of restaurants. He's been named Best New Chef by Food & Wine, and he's also been named Best Chef Mid-Atlantic by the James Beard Foundation. He's written several cookbooks. He's heavily involved in the Philadelphia community, and in 2015, he embarked on a new business relationship with Urban Outfitters. Marc, thanks for coming on The Line.
Yo, man, how you doing? Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
I want to hear first a little bit about, because you're so ingrained in Philadelphia.
Philly's my home, man.
You grew up in Philly.
Yeah.
Tell me about what life was like growing up in Philly as a kid. What area of town did you grow up in? And what was it a cool neighborhood? Was it a dangerous neighborhood? What was it like?
No, man. So I'm actually from like the northeast area, and that's like basically the burbs.
Okay.
So it was a nice area. It was not a scary area, and it was pretty just the normal suburban the lifestyle. We had like the Little League and all that stuff. Mom and Dad worked and lived in the house, had a yard. The whole deal. Went to the local high school. The Abington High School, and just nothing really. I mean, out of the ordinary. My father's family lived down in like the South Philly area, so we used to head down there on like the weekends and everything, and we'd have like the big meals, the meatballs, the lasagna, the macaroni, and all that stuff. And that was kind of the highlight.
Grandma ran that show? Or?
Yeah, oh yeah,
okay.
She ran the show. She made everything, and we had the whole family there. My uncle and their kids, and the aunts and uncles from my father's side, and that was like the Sunday meal. The old, the old families from Italy. They all had them. So my father's family was from Sicily. So
okay,
so that was the big thing. So the ride down there was like, it was the 30 minutes, and that was like 9th Street, which is the market there. I don't know if you're familiar with it. 9th Street, where all like the vendors are, and way back then it was all the folks, it was all the folks from Italy,
Like
the mob ran it back then,
old,
probably.
like
Yeah,
old school,
yeah,
old school.
The barber shops with the old guys from Italy sitting there cutting the hair, doing the numbers in like the back room and shit,
People really they associate Philly with, unfortunately or fortunately, with the cheesesteak, right?
The cheesesteak.
For me, it's Dr. J. What images when you were a kid, if you can really harken back, like what are some sights and smells that you recall from Philadelphia? Like, what is it? Your grandma's meatballs? Is there something that just really to you is like super Philly in the 60s, 70s, 80s when you're growing up?
Well, 70s and 80s. Let's not go back. I'm only 50. I'm not 60s, man. I was 4 years old. I was born in 66. So, yeah. There's nothing really like I would say, specifically, like of that. I mean, the memories that I have are all around basically the weekend, the Sunday, the family meals. That was always, we did lots of things. But for some reason, and I don't know, I mean, obviously, I think that everybody sort of has the memories that, sort of, hop into their head. But my memories are, heading down to South Philly, the meatballs, the stuffed artichokes, the bacala, all that stuff. I just used to look forward, look forward to the weekend. Mm-hmm. I didn't have, I don't think that I was a very social guy, so the school thing, I didn't have a lot of, wasn't really heading over to, to the neighbor's house or so I just always really look forward, to the weekend for the
family time,
the meals, the family time. That was
the progression from you going to Italy obviously seems really logical now because you have all those memories and, that's sort of where your family coming over from Sicily. Yeah. So how do you connect with your job is it Bergamo?
Bergamo, yeah.
Bergamo?
Yeah,
so how do you connect with, did you work at a restaurant? Did you work at a pasta shop? What were you doing?
I was at a restaurant out there. So, I was out in I was out in the Los Angeles area. It was 1990, mm-hmm. And I had actually, so I went out there to go to the Musicians Institute.
Okay.
Yeah.
For guitar.
Yeah. For guitar. And I still work nights in the like in the restaurants, because I obviously had to make a living somehow.
Right.
So then I, so I had the band, and I was, and I was actually, when I was in the restaurants at night, and so I was working for Wolfgang Puck.
Okay.
And there's a restaurant out there named Valentino's. There's a guy named Mr. Salvaggio. He owned it. So I used to stop in there because he used to stop in the restaurant. He knew the restaurants really well. He was from the Italy area. He was actually from Italy. So he liked me a lot, and I was out there for about 3 or 4 years, and I just wasn't really, liking it out there. The Los Angeles area just wasn't I just wasn't, the vibe out there, the food out there. I didn't like it. So I asked him, hey, do you know anyone in Italy? Because I really want to go to Italy. That's kind of what that's like where I got to go. I just was like, I really wanted it. So I said, well, he knows a guy who's in northern Italy. He has a restaurant. He has a room. He said, you can go, you can live there, you can work. So I said, all right. So he wrote a note. He wrote me this note on a piece of paper. He said, head to this restaurant and hand the owner this note. And I said, that's it. He's like, that's it. All right. So, so I got a one-way plane ticket. This is completely old school. I was like, he's like, I got a guy. All right. Well, that's fine. So I bought a one-way flight, which now, you're not buying a one-way flight anywhere, right? Nobody's buying a one-way flight. Landed there, walked into the restaurant, handed the guy the note. He looked at the note. He looked at me. He rolled his eyes. He's like, not again. Obviously this actually happens. He showed me the room, and I started.
How long did you stay?
I ended up living there for about 2 years. I was in that restaurant for about 6 months, and then when you're in Italy, then you work in a restaurant, you meet folks who worked in other restaurants. Like, oh, you should work there for months. You should work there for months. So I just started meeting folks, and I just sort of work here for a month, there for a month, here for 6 weeks, here for 8 weeks. So I went all over. I went to Venice for a month. I went down to the Rome area for 6 months. I went here, down there, and I ended up staying there for about 2 years, year and a half, something like that. And I just went over there with $1,000, and I just made that
stretch
last. Like every now and then, the restaurant owners would they'd let me have a little bit of money, and they'd let me.
But for the most part, you were really just staging.
Wow, for free. Yeah.
So, I assume that you learned how to make pasta.
I learned a lot about pasta.
Beyond learning how to make pasta, what were some other things that you worked on? Did you do baking? What did they let you touch? What did they say?
Let you do anything.
They let you do anything.
Yeah,
that's
like
cool.
This is Italy. In other areas, I'm not going to name them, so I don't want to start a war here. But in Italy, it's like there's no secrets. Hey, what's that? Oh, this is here's where it's from. This is awesome. You got to learn this. The chefs there, whenever the orders, would arrive, they'd be like, Mark, look at this, look at this fish. Here's where it's from. Here's the vegetables, the meats, and that's really, I think it's less. About what I learned than just the whole the sensibility of what happens in Italy, using the land, the sharing of the knowledge. There's no the chefs in Italy, they're not yelling. They're not there's none of that.
There's an enjoyment level in the kitchen, right?
Listen, it's still hard work. But I've heard, stories of other line cooks, staging and, Michelin star restaurants here and there, and just the yelling and the,
plates thrown.
Yeah, plates thrown, crashing. I was I don't even understand that. It's just nothing that I've, I've only heard about it. I've never actually, never actually seen it, So, but that's what I learned in Italy, just like the love of the food, where it's from, what it's all about.
What brought you back from Italy to the United States? Did you run out of money?
Well, I ran out of money, and my friend was getting married, so I was like, yeah, let me go back.
So you come back to the United States. Do you immediately jump into a food job, or
yeah? I mean,
where did you start out?
Well, I actually moved out to so I had still all of my stuff in Los Angeles. It was in someone's house, in the I don't know where it was, but anyway, so I went back there, worked around, I opened up a restaurant in Alaska. It's a long story. I don't think we have time right now. But I ended up
where
there
was it
for
in
a year.
Alaska?
It was in what's it called, Juneau, Alaska.
Okay.
Beautiful area.
Yeah.
I spent about 9 months there. I mean, opened up a restaurant, right on the water for someone. But it was a great experience. I mean, I opened up a restaurant from nothing, so that was awesome. From there, I actually moved to the city, Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, the chef at up on the Upper East Side, the Belle Blue.
Mm-hmm.
I opened that. That was 1996. So I was the chef there for about 2 years. And then I was 30 years old, and I was just about to turn 31, and I had this, sort of thing. I don't know what it was, but it was in my head, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to open up a restaurant by when I'm 30 years old. I mean, I just always, I just always thought that. And then I was, so I was almost 31 years old, and I was like, oh shit, man, I didn't open up a restaurant, so
you missed your own deadline.
So I said to the owner, I was like, man, I got to go, I got to open up a restaurant. He's like, what are you talking about? We're doing awesome here. You're making a lot of money. I'm like, yeah, but man, I said to myself, when I'm 30 years old, I'm going to open up a restaurant. I'm going to be 31. Man, I got to go. And he's like, all right. So I gave him like a month notice, and then I started looking for, my own restaurant.
In Philly? A space in Philly?
I started looking in the Manhattan area,
Mm-hmm.
but once I saw the numbers, I was like, I can get the fuck out of here.
Need to get back to Philly. It's crazy, so you spent 2 years in Italy, you spent time in Los Angeles, Juneau, Alaska. Three
New York,
beautiful places. New York, one of the greatest cities in the entire world.
Yeah.
Philly, another incredible city. It pulls you back.
What family?
So it's family, and also just kind of barrier to entry, right?
The support system. My mom and dad were there still. I still had a lot of things happening in there, and then also so obviously once I started looking there, I obviously saw, the numbers made a lot more sense there than New York City. Even then,
those pesky rent numbers, really,
it was crazy.
Philly's still it's still pretty reasonable. Half or 66% of what New York is, probably.
I'd say it's,
number-wise,
I'd say it's a third.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oof.
I mean,
you just made a bunch of people really bummed out.
I've heard some of the numbers here for rent, like over $100, $120 a square foot, $130.
I think you can pay. I think in Soho, Lower East Side, I think it's going for like $145 or $150 right now a square foot.
You're talking $40, $50 in Philly. Jeez. I mean, and then there's obviously some nice areas where you're going to hit 80, but 80's like reach.
80s, like you can't even find that in most places in Brooklyn anymore.
In the dumps.
That's wild. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to start talking about Philly and what happens there. We'll be right back here on Heritage Radio.
Bob's Red Mill is a proud sponsor of Heritage Radio Network and a big supporter of organic farmers. Ray and Tom Williams are two farmers who have worked with Bob for years and co-own an organic farm in eastern Oregon and Washington. Ray shares what their relationship with Bob's Red Mill means to them.
We thought that for over the long term, we thought it would make better sense for the soil. Also, we thought that it was something that would improve the quality of the food supply. We're lucky in that we're working with Bob's Red Mill. We're part of a regional food network. With Bob is a fundamental relationship and cornerstone to that. We also work with other best-of-class people in the Northwest, and we're thankful for the long-term relationship that's brought good things to the soil and good things to our long-term farm economic plans. We appreciate his attitude toward absolutely high standard for the benefit of his customers. We take pride in meeting those standards.
Learn more about Bob's Red Mill and their commitment to good food for all at bobsredmill.com/podcast.
Welcome back to The Line. I'm here with Philadelphia native Marc Vetri. He is the chef and co-founder of Vetri Family Restaurants. So we were talking about how you were cooking in New York.
Yeah.
You ran the numbers. Your family was in Philly, and it kind of brought you back. I'm curious, did you meet your partner, Jeff Benjamin, before you opened the first restaurant, or did you do the first restaurant and then he joined up?
So I met him here.
Okay.
He was in New York. He was working for Aramark. Then he was working for the Restaurant Associates.
Okay.
And he was actually friends with my younger my younger brother Adam, who lived here. So Adam used to eat at the restaurant with him, and so we just got to be like we just got to hang out a little bit, and I was looking for someone to to open up the restaurant, to run it with me. And I was looking for someone from Italy, and this was 1998. It was like May 1998, and I was looking for someone. And then Adam, my brother, mentioned, hey, he's looking, to leave the Restaurant Associates, and he's looking for something. He would, he'd be happy to move, to Philly. So we just kind of made it work.
So what's the first spot that you open, and where?
Vetri.
And where is it?
13th and Spruce, Vetri. It's the original Lebec Fin. I don't know if you know that Lebec Fin is was one of like the main restaurants, that was in the city that, sort of started everything, They were there from 1969 to 1983, and then they moved over to this other area. But, I I mean, anyone who's a little bit older than you probably would be like, Quebec Fin, holy shit, that's amazing. No one knows about it anymore because it isn't.
What does it
anymore.
mean to have taken over that space, though, with all that history? How did that
amazing.
How did that come about?
You know what? It was a restaurant that was actually named Chanterelle. When I was looking at it, and I was just looking around, right? I was just looking around, and I had some investors, and I was looking at larger rooms. But whenever I said, oh, this one's going to be awesome, I'm going to need $700,000. The investors were like, oh, let me see, I'm not sure. I was like, all right, this isn't going to work out. So this one, it had 30 seats. It was really little. The guy was asking $75,000 for everything that was in it, liquor license and everything that was in it. 30-seat restaurant. So I got the business loan, from the government, for $100,000, and I had $30,000 saved up, and I maxed out in Amex, and I got a few thousand here and there, and I opened up Vetri for $150,000.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's not happening much now. Yeah, but it was 30 seats. The guy, the last restaurant there, he was there for 6 years. It wasn't large enough for him, so he was actually moving on to another restaurant. And it's sort of this, the restaurant there, it was Quebec Fin, it was Chanterelle, it was another restaurant called Ciboulette, but it's legendary, in that area. Quebec Fin, obviously,
and then now you get to
the biggest one,
carry on the tradition.
Yeah.
You've been there for such a long time that now you're a Philly institution.
Next year is our 20-year anniversary. So
it's crazy. It's
nuts.
It's one of the craziest things is that you opened a restaurant and it made it 20 years, which is exceptional in any city because restaurants often don't make it past 5.
Yeah.
So to make it 20 and then to be able to spin that off into other restaurants as well. Before we kind of go into the expansion, I'm curious. The saying is that the hardest is from 1 to 2. Yeah. And then after that, it gets a little bit easier. How do you feel about that?
I don't know.
What was hard for you about starting off with you and Jeff trying to make it happen? After Vetri was a success in some capacity, you decided to do another. How did you reach that point?
What is that though, right? It's a success, right? I mean, there was things written about it, so does that make it? I mean, we didn't start making money till 9 years in, I mean, remember it was only 30 seats, and it was just me and him. So I think what actually made it easier for us is that we waited 9 years, to open up another restaurant. Lots of folks nowadays, they open up a restaurant and they're already thinking, oh, man, I got to open this, I got to open this, I got to do a book, I got to do this, I got to get on the Iron Chef, I got to get on the Food Network, I got to do this, I got to do that. We just worked. We were just in the restaurant, 6 days a week, and when we weren't there, the restaurant wasn't open. And, we did that for 9 years, and I think that really, sort of helped us out. I mean, after 9 years, we were just full every night, so then we could open up something because there was, they'd folks wanted something else, so we opened up the Osteria. That was the second one, and it just made it easier. I don't think it was like super hard, from one to that. I don't think it was like, I don't think that was the hardest thing about the road that we're on.
What's so fascinating about the growth of a restaurant group is that a single restaurant, 30 seats, is just you and Jeff. There's other people in the kitchen.
Sure.
Then you go to the next one and you need a CDC and you need a GM, and then you got another one, and now you got 2 CDCs and 4 sous chefs and 2 GMs. So how do you manage that infrastructure? Like, do you just kind of like learn as you go?
When I figure it out, I'll let you know. That's the hardest thing, right? And that's the hardest thing, with all of us, because this is new, So when I opened, back in 1998, like the chefs had like one restaurant, There was no restaurant organizations that had like 6 restaurants or 7. There was like the guy who had one restaurant, and there was like the guys that had like 900 restaurants. There was no like 15,
it was like Burger
30
King
restaurants.
And like Vinny's Pizzeria.
Yeah, that's
it.
Yeah. So now there's this new thing, right? Of like these young guys. I mean, like me, but now we're older.
You're a young guy. Sorry, I didn't mean to say you were born in the 50s. I apologize for that.
But so we're all running the 8, 9, 15 restaurants, and we're all like asking one another, hey man, how many of this do you guys have? You guys need a CFO? You have a CEO? Do you have a marketing director? Do you have this? Do you have that? We're all just kind of, just learning about it because there was never happened, So that's where the urban thing sort of helps us out, because they have that experience, right?
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. So besides the obvious synergy, which is you're Philly and urban is Philly.
They're Philly.
How does that come to be? I mean, can you talk about some of like the broad strokes, like the deal points? It's like, I know that besides Vetri on Spruce, you sold the restaurants, right?
Yeah, everything. But
but you're obviously still involved.
So we run them all still.
Okay.
We're still involved with them all. I mean, that was just a...
So you have like a management deal on your own old restaurants, kind of? Like
No, not at all.
So
they own them.
They own them.
They own them. Yeah. They own them. We run them. I mean, obviously, they run them also now, with us, because they have the infrastructure, which is really what everybody has to have, because once you have like the roaming managers and the roaming chefs and the roaming this, that's a lot of money, and like the restaurant, the margins are like starting to go smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So you're not making like like those like if you're lucky, you're gonna make 4%, 5%. That's not a lot. So the reason this thing happened is, I mean, who really knows why it happened? It's really nuts. But they were looking for a lot of years for this relationship, because they have their stores, and obviously the retail stuff that's starting to get super hard. A lot of retail stores are they're having a lot of issues. I mean, everybody knows that. So they were looking for something to maybe stick near the store to like say, hey, folks, you can kind of, if you stop in the restaurant, you could eat something, you could walk into this the store, and and you could sort of have a little this synergy there. So they really liked, I think, initially the pizzeria. So we opened the one, and I mean, we loved it also. We were like, hey, 19% food costs. This is pretty cool, like that's not obviously the normal thing, So we were also thinking like, hey, we'd like to open up a lot of these, And then we saw like the Shake Shack thing happen. We're like, wow, that's cool.
There's a potential.
There's a potential. I don't think we're going to hit that, but that's sort of a once in a lifetime thing. But hey, maybe we can open up 30 of these things. So we had always sort of sort of funded. We always went to the bank. We always I always like refinanced my house and signed everything away on the dotted line. And we're starting to get older, and I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to refinance my house again. So let's look for some money. So we started looking, and and everyone who was offering stuff, they wanted a lot. And then so we already had the relationship with Urban Outfitters, and they heard that that we were looking for someone, so they said, hey, and they just offered us option, what if we buy the pizzeria? We're like, oh, that's an option. What if we just let you have a little bit of money for the pizzeria? It's an option. You could have this much of it. What if what if this? What if that? What if we just
bought it all?
What if we just own the whole restaurant company? I don't know. That's an option. And we started to then we started to discuss it. And then so there was really only one thing that I'm not selling the original restaurant Vetri. That's my baby. It's only 30 seats anyway.
What's it going to do for them?
It's not scalable.
Yeah.
It's nothing, but I have to own that. And then it just kind of went, And
what did you feel like the day? So you sign, you wake up the next day, and you realize that you and Jeff and your team has been working for years, and you built all this up. What does it feel like that day when you wake up and
it's the same thing,
Same.
I mean, for me it is, but I sort of manifest things in like my own way. Like I still look at all of the restaurants like they're mine, and when I'm in Philly, I still roam all the restaurants every night, and I still look at them like they're mine, So, so even though I don't own them anymore, we all still sort of run them like we own them.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing's really. So I get asked that a lot. Obviously, and I don't really have an answer because I don't feel like my life is now like this when it actually was like that. I just feel like I own the restaurants. Someone's helping me out with them, and now we have the infrastructure to maybe make. I don't know, make history. maybe open up a lot of restaurants. I don't know.
When you say that you roam the restaurants and you still go through them and you still feel like they're your restaurants, which they are, I'm curious, from a leadership role, from the owner, founder position, are you like a real granular guy? Are you going in and like looking in the walk-in and like looking in low boys? Are you like sitting down and having a meeting with your CDC and saying, what do you need? What can I do? What's new? Like, how does your management style manifest itself since you have multiple restaurants and it's a lot, you know?
I just always kind of like to see who needs what, you know? Obviously, you know, when I'm at a restaurant, I'm going to look around and I'm going to see things. I'm like, hey, you know, whose is that? Why is it left out? Why is that like that? Hey guys, you know, that's not really nice. You should really leave this. Like, hey, you know, your knife is, you know, you need to sharpen it. You know, who made this you know, this thing? How come they don't have this on the table? I mean, that's just normal for I think any owner. But then there's also the other half of it, where I just, you know, sort of help them figure out what they need. You know, so I'll be on the phone with one of the chefs from from a restaurant. I'll be like, hey man, how's it going today? Oh man, everything's awesome, chefy. Yeah, I got this in, and I'm like, oh cool, you know, what are you making with it? It'll be like this, and this. Oh, you know what? I used to make this with that, and it was awesome. Oh, you know what? That's awesome. I'm going to, we're gonna use that. I think so. It's mostly like things like that. But I'm just there. To basically help.
I want to know what still motivates you and keeps you growing. You've accomplished a lot by any measure. You've done many restaurants. You've done them big and small, high-end, fast casual. Sure. You've done books. I'm curious, what do you feel like you have left to do?
I think I got everything left to do. I mean, I've been like, I mean, I get so excited. I mean, when somebody makes something new, or when I see something, the internet now, social media, we're doing things now that like we could have never had 20 years ago. Sometimes I announce these events on like the internet at like 9:00 a.m. and by 9:05 for that evening they're sold out with a wait list of like 90 people. So I get so excited about that stuff. I can have my upstairs room at the Vetri restaurant, that's empty, and I could say something like, "Hey, I'm going to make some roasted lamb tonight. We're going to serve it family style. First come, first serve." And I'll announce that at 9:00, and at 9:04, dude, it's like sold out. So these are things. So I'm just like looking for new things and like new fun things, and just I just love seeing what's happening in the restaurant world. We're doing all this new stuff with like the wheat. We're doing all like the milling right in the restaurant now. I mean, that's opened up a whole new world. So like, man, we're just getting started, I feel.
Marc, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you. Everyone, you can go see Marc all over Philly.
Everyone. I'm everywhere.
You cannot escape his restaurants. And, of course, Vetri on Spruce Street, about to celebrate its 20th anniversary.
Next year, man.
Congratulations. Everyone, please join us every Tuesday here on Heritage Radio for new episodes of The Line.
Thanks for listening to Heritage Radio Network, food radio supported by you. For our freshest content and to hear about exclusive events, subscribe to our newsletter. Enter your email at the bottom of our website, heritageradionetwork.org. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at heritage_radio. Heritage Radio Network is a nonprofit organization driving conversations to make the world a better, fairer, more delicious place. And we couldn't do it without support from listeners like you. Want to be a part of the food world's most innovative community? Rate the shows you like, tell your friends, and please join our community by becoming a member. Just click on the beating heart at the top right of our homepage. Thanks for listening.